Hello, hope all is well with everyone. Um, this one's not gonna be a lesson, it's just gonna be, I don't know what to call it, but, lately we're finding more and more that schools are trying to indoctrinate children on so many different things with CRT, with LGTB, BLM, and all kinds of stuff. But the one particularly I want to talk about is the fact they're trying to put pedophilia in. I mean, all those other stuff is very much important as well. It definitely needs to be spoken against. But for me, pedophilia would be one of the most damaging things to the kids. Recently, as probably everyone knows by now, but in case for a reason if you haven't heard yet, there was a parent who talked to the school board, and I believe it was in Virginia. I think the town was Fairfax or something. Their high school had 2 books in the library that promoted pedophilia, and not just that, but the context had basically pornography, like pedophilia text into it. And the lady that was talking to the school board, as she was reading out of the books everything that was said, the school board people were being dumb. And one woman tried saying, "Ma'am, that is for high school kids." I don't care. That mom doesn't care. And any parent who honestly and truthfully loves a child doesn't care. Pedophilia is not appropriate for any person in any age, much less kids in school. And mind you, a lot of those high schoolers are underage. A lot of those high schoolers are still minors. But either way, that little argument of it being in high school is quite irrelevant. Because pedophilia is not appropriate for anybody. And then, later on, another one tries to stop the mom and saying, "Ma'am, there are kids here." Well, first and foremost, there wasn't any child around at all. And even if there was, now all of a sudden, and I shouldn't say child because it was high school, I should say high schoolers, teenagers. But even if there was any teenagers around, now all of a sudden, you care? I mean, seriously. You're trying to stop the mom and saying that she's, being inappropriate for reading out of the books, which are promoted and in the school libraries, and yet now all of a sudden you care? Now all of a sudden you're concerned how it's going to affect the kids? Well, why didn't you look into the books in the first place? And not just that, but why did you put them up in the libraries? If you truly cared, those books wouldn't have been in the library in the first place. I mean, what did you guys do? Just look at the title and say, "Oh, this looks like that'll be great for the high schoolers. It looks like it'll be accepting of people LGBT. We're not going to look at it. We're just going to assume that it's for equality and put it right in our schools. It'll teach the kids to be acceptable, to be accepting of people of all different kinds of beliefs, and blah, blah, blah." Is that what happened? You guys just look at the titles of the books like, "Oh, this looks good. Yeah, no problem here. It looks like it would be great. It would show equality, blah, blah, blah. Let's put it up there and not even read it at all. And let's not even look into it. Let's just assume it's good and put it up there." Is that what happened? Is that what you did? Either way, if you guys looked at it or not, there was serious neglect in this. But more and more you're seeing stuff like that. At another school, I believe, what was it, Texas or Florida? There was a teacher that tried to have students write sex prompts to them. Really? Why? Why should a kid at school have to write about sex acts and all kinds of stuff? Why? Why? All that is a teacher basically trying to get off on kids, in a sense, reading that material. I can't imagine that teacher did not do that for no perverted reason. And I'm so glad that, I believe it was the mayor, whoever, who talked to the school board there, basically told him that they better step down or get arrested. And I hope he sticks to his guns on that. But unfortunately, you got other politicians who are trying to say that parents shouldn't have any rights over their kids, over what's being taught to them. Well, you know what? Forget you. You Democrats who want to say that parents have no rights over their children, forget you. Parents have far more rights over their children than you do. You're not the ones who gave birth to them. You're not the ones who helped create them. You're not the ones who raised them. Parents have far more rights over their children. Parents have every right to... Before I say this next thing, now all of a sudden, they're wanting to get FBI to go against parents who are just simply showing up at these school board meetings, voicing their opinions. I mean, isn't that the whole point of the meeting? Isn't the whole point of the school board meeting is to allow the parents to freely come and to voice out what they feel is right or wrong about the curriculum? I mean, isn't that the entire point? And now all of a sudden, when the parents are going against the leftist agenda, you got these school board meetings crying, saying, "Oh, FBI, come and help us, they're threatening us." When you are trying to put crap like pedophilia and racism, and which is CRT is racist. When you're trying to teach pedophilia, racism, and all this other... What'd you expect? I mean, what'd you expect? Oh, wait. What you expected was parents to not do nothing. You hoped that parents would just stay silent on because they'd be too scared to say anything. You was hoping they'd be too scared. You was hoping they was just, pretend there's no problem there. You was hoping they'd basically be a bunch of little sheep following the agenda, whatever. And look what happened. Thankfully, y'all was proven wrong. Thankfully, parents said, no. We're standing up for our kids. We're not letting this crap happen. And you know what? To the parents, please, for all the children's sake in America, keep voicing out. Do not let them stop you. Don't let them stop you. Keep speaking out for your kids. Keep doing it. They need that. They need to be protected. Kudos to the mom who spoke again. Kudos to the mom. I shouldn't say it, but I'm sorry. What I should say is kudos to all the parents, not just the one particular mom, but to all the parents and guardians who have spoken out for the children, and in elementary, middle school, high school, whatever. Kudos to all parents who are speaking out, and more should speak out. And people who don't even have kids that go to these schools should also speak out on their behalf as well. We should all stand up together and peacefully tell people how we feel about it. Now, we shouldn't do no violence. We shouldn't make no threats or nothing. We shouldn't make any threat. We shouldn't stoop ourselves at the levels of the left. No threats, no violence, just simply peacefully going to these places, peacefully voicing out our opinions and letting them know that this kind of stuff should not stand in schools. I mean, pedophilia definitely shouldn't stand in schools. And another thing that gets me about that one lady who, on the school board, that tried to say, oh, there's kids here. I want to ask her a question about those books that promoted pedophilia. Haven't you thought for 1 second that maybe some of those students may have unfortunately been attacked by an adult in a sexual manner before? Haven't you ever thought of that? Maybe, wouldn't you think that would have triggered some awful memories for them if they read that? Read the book talking about a man wanting to play in a sexual manner with a little boy? I mean, haven't you thought for 1 second that if any of those students have ever been sexually assaulted or molested, that would have... I mean, did you? Oh wait, you didn't care. That's right. How those kids feel don't matter to you. Because you care more about the propaganda, you care more about being politically correct than the kids and their safety. And that's why parents are ticked off. That's why parents are voicing out, and rightly so. Because you school board members are putting the safety of the safety of those students in the dirt just for the sake of political correctness and just for the sake of a propaganda. And it really disgusts me that they're trying to make pedophilia like as if some sort of a good thing. How they're trying to normalize it. You know, it really aggravates me that you got people who are trying to fend more for pedophiles than you do for kids. There should be, you know what, a Me Too movement should kind of branch out and, you know, do a thing for kids. You know, because Me Too always say believe, you know, listen to every woman. Well, you know what? They should start saying that about kids as well, because there are child victims. Boys and girls. They should be able to speak out as well. And MAPS and pedophilia, they should not be protected. I mean, they should not be coddled. They should not be babied. The ones that need the protection are the kids. There is nothing good. There is nothing wonderful. There's nothing love. There's no love. There's no joy or anything in being raped, especially when it's done to you as a kid. I know, because I was raped when I was 8 years old. I was molested and raped as a child. And there was no emotions of happiness or joy or bliss. Because you got some sickos out there that try to make it as if... There are some sickos out there that try to make it out as if kids actually like it. No. No. Not one person that was ever a victim of rape or molestation, especially as a child, ever said that they liked it. When I was attacked like I was as a kid, what I felt was pain, anger, fear. Shock, trauma. I was diagnosed later in years with PTSD because of it. I had nightmares because of it. I became an introvert because of it. I used to be quite social until that happened to me. I had a hard time talking to boys because of it. If a grown man looked, okay. Sometimes when a man would look at me in a way, and still as a little kid dealing with the trauma of this, I think, oh my goodness, is he looking at me like that? Is he wanting to do that to me? And the thing is, I wasn't attacked by a grown man. I was attacked by another minor. But still, I looked at a grown man once, still as a little girl, after that incident happened to me. And to me, in his eyes, he was looking at me as if he was wanting to molest me just like that other person did. And I hid behind my dad. Being sexualized as a child is no good for the child. There's nothing normal about wanting to have sex with a child. Nothing. And it really aggravates me and angers me that they're trying to normalize pedophilia. And it also aggravates me. I mean, listen, obviously I'm not LGBT. I don't support the lifestyle LGBT. But it does aggravate me that they're trying to use LGBT as an excuse to do it. Because they're trying to say that it's another sexuality. As far as I can recall, people in the LGBT community, for the most part, are old enough to understand what all that stuff is. I mean, where it's gay, lesbian, or even people who are heterosexuals, when they're adults or teenagers, there's two consenting people who knows what they're doing, know what it all means, know the consequences to it, whatever. That's a huge difference between that and a person preying on a little child that has no clue what's going on, that has no knowledge of what it means or nothing. Huge difference. As someone who's been there, as someone who's experienced it, pedophilia should not be glamorized. It should not be normal. It should not be looked at as something that should be normal. It should not be looked at as something that should be accepted. But you got those people out there that want to accept pedophiles and accept them as if they can't help it. That's bull. I'm sorry, but you cannot tell me that you can't help but look at a little kid that way. Not true. There are things you can do to help you overcome that if you feel that way. I mean, the most effective thing to do is to turn yourself completely over to Christ, renew your mind in Christ, but for a reason, if you're not going to do that, at the very least, get some counseling. Get some counseling, get some help. But there's no excuse in lusting after a child. There's no excuse for that at all. None. I know people within my family and others outside of family who were attacked either as adults or as children, and not one of them ever said that they was happy or enjoyed that they was hurt like that. And I have family members who are LGBT, and both of them would beat the crap out of someone that's a pedophile. Neither one of them would accept the letter P within the LGBT community. In fact, there's plenty of LGBT community who flat out say, no. We don't accept that. And for those of you that are in the LGBT community that have said that, I thank you for that. I mean, you guys and people like me may disagree on a lot of things, but at least we can agree that children need to be protected. At least for some of you who are, at least we can agree on that. I wish I can remember his name, but I remember this guy that was he was a drag queen. I think it happened sometime after, I think it was a boy named Desmond or something, 11-year-old boy who was dancing for a bunch of drunk men. This guy who was a drag queen, he said, why are you bringing your kids around this? There's sexual stuff that goes on. Don't bring your kids. I mean, they're already saying we're pedophiles. You're not helping us. You're hurting us. But keep your kids away. I wish I could remember the guy's name, but I was so glad that he said that, because he cared more about the safety of the children than the feelings of the left. Ultimately, at the end of the day, kids need to be protected. And parents have every right to protect their child from dangerous teachings and from indoctrination. Which, parents have every right to protect their kids. They have every right to voice their opinion. And you're not going to take that from them. Those of you that are trying to take parents' rights, you are not going to take the rights of the parents away. That's not happening. In Jesus' name, I say it's not going to happen. There's so many people who are not going to stand for it. People that are religious and also people that are not religious. I mean, I have a cousin that's an atheist, that's a conservative, that believes that, we should have our freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of guns, we should all be able to practice our freedoms without our rights being infringed upon. All these different groups and everything that was in America religiously or, sexual orientation, whatever. We may disagree on many different things, but we can agree that kids should be protected. We could agree that each and every one of us should be able, to say how we feel without our right, or being threatened with our rights being taken away. We should all, we should have freedom of speech and things like that. And it's just slow. I'm sorry, I'm having hiccups. Ugh. But anyway, slowly, it just seems like the government is just trying to take rights away. We can't let them do this. We all have to stand up and fight for our freedom. I mean, all those people who have fought for our freedom in the military all these years, I mean, they didn't go and serve and sacrifice so much for nothing. We need to stand up for our freedoms. I mean, Martin Luther King and people like him, he didn't go out and fought for nothing. I mean, Martin Luther King fought a different type of battle, but still, he fought for freedom. Him and many others, they fought. They fought the good fight. They fought for their freedoms, and are we just going to let all their hard work go to waste? We shouldn't do that. Especially for our kids' sake, we shouldn't do that. We have to think what's best for our families. We have to think what's best for us in America. I mean, too many times you've seen when people chose to give their freedoms away, they end up, or some of the rights away, they lose freedom altogether. You see this happen over and over again. That's happened in Venezuela. It's happened in Australia. I mean, we're seeing it happening over and over and over again. People choose to give away their rights for a little safety, and look what happens. They lose everything. And Benjamin Franklin had it completely right when he talked about that if people choose to give up, how does he put it? Give up their liberty for a little safety, deserves neither. I'm trying to remember how he quoted it, and I'm sorry for historians if I got it wrong, but either way, it was like he hit the head on the nail with that. If you chose to give up some of your rights just for a little safety, you end up losing everything altogether. And we're seeing that happening in America, and it's all for the sake of a small group, the woke left. I mean, the woke left is trying to destroy everything that's about America. They're trying to get rid of everything. They're trying to get rid of rights and all this stuff. They're trying to destroy everything. And they're trying to implant ideas and things into young minds that don't belong. Such as pedophilia. Such as CRT. Such as, BLM, Antifa, and all kinds of other crazy things. And now going back and talking about LGBT, look, I definitely don't agree with the whole transgender stuff going on either. I mean, I'm not saying, as a Christian, I'm not for LGBT lifestyle. But because I'm a Christian as well, God would want me to pray for them. He would want me to simply tell them that if they want it, simply tell them the truth and let them decide from there what they want to do. And with them being grown adults and teenagers, they can choose what they want to do, but I don't want them trying to force me to accept their way of life, just like they wouldn't want me to force my religious beliefs on them. It's the same thing. It's your life. Do what you want. I can't force you to change your mind, but you cannot force me to agree with you. And that's the thing I wish that, what, never mind. I'm going completely off topic. But ultimately, parents, keep fighting for your kids. Keep going to school board meetings. Do not let them shut you up. Don't let them shut you up. Keep going. All the children across America needs it. May God bless you all. Love you all. Shalom.